Hey everybody, Karen from Spirit Guides. I hope you're doing well today. So I wanted to take a deeper look at what exactly shadow work is. And I did a call out because I'm learning all of these things with others here. And some of you know so much more than I will ever know because again, I always say I'm facilitating these conversations as a way for me to learn. And so many of you leave so many great comments because you have so much more experience or knowledge. So thank you for doing that. But anyways, yeah, I wanted to learn a little bit more about shadow work. And so I did a call out on the channel and you guys asked your questions. And so that's what we have today. I do have a little intro that I just worked with Mabel on to understand, just so we can get in the right frame of mind about what we're talking about. All right. Because I have to say, like a year ago, I had no idea what shadow work was. So this is a very new concept for me. We did, and once I did start hearing about it, we did a book club. Actually, we did a shadow work journal in the Spirit Circle together, and that will always be there. So those of you who are in the Spirit Circle, in the practice level 2, you will always have access to that conversation. So if you haven't done it, it was so helpful for me, I have to say. So if you haven't done that journal and gone through the videos that we did together, you'll always have those, plus everybody's comments, and there's just so much you could learn there. But I wanted to talk about it a little bit more on the public channel, and we are going to ask the lead team collective for their responses to this. Like, is this a thing? Like, how deep does this go? Is this kind of just a made up thing that humans use to talk about different things? Or is this something that is by design from a spiritual perspective? I'm kind of curious about. All right, so let's talk about, or let's just go over what it is, like just so we're on the same page. All right, so understanding shadow work. Shadow work is simply getting to know the parts of ourselves we learn to hide so we could feel safe, loved, and accepted. Those hidden parts still shape how we react, how we connect with people, and how we move through our daily lives, even when we don't notice it. Okay? Very often, the first thing we learned to hide were not our pain. So this is very interesting. The first thing, we didn't necessarily learn to hide our pain first. What we learned to hide was our voice, our confidence, our intuition, our creativity, and our leadership. Okay? So that's what we hid first. Then the shadow could show up as shame, doubt, lack of confidence, all those kind of things. So shadow could, show itself that way for us. So many of us learned early on that speaking up caused tension. Standing out caused judgment. Oh my gosh, yes. Which, is kind of amazing because I think think of how many more people are standing out now because of just even using platforms. And not sitting in that shadow of not speaking out, not sharing what they think, right? And I was also watching, my husband and I watched this really short clip on Gen Xers, and both he and I are Gen Xers. And it was so interesting because basically Gen X, because the video started by like, why doesn't anyone ever talk about Gen X? Like everybody's talking about boomers, then everybody talks about Gen Z is like completely dissected at this point. Millennials, I don't hear as much about millennials anymore, but the Gen Xers, like nobody talks about. Okay, so and that's my generation. And but the reason being is because of how it's described. The Gen Xers were they'll put your head down and just get the work done. Don't make waves, just do it, stay forever. Stay in one place, whether how much you're abused or not, just stay there. Not everybody, but you know what I mean in a general sense. And their Gen Xers are less likely to want to do like this kind of stuff, be on video. And that's for sure true for my husband. Could be partly personality type. But not necessarily for me, because even though I'm Gen X, I always kind of battled against the not speaking up. Like it's always been a part of my personality. It's probably because I'm an Aries. And he's a Leo. So, yeah. So anyways, let's see. I just find this so fascinating. So again, many of us learned early on that speaking up would cause tension, standing out caused judgment, trusting our inner knowing was dismissed, trusting your inner knowing. You just follow the curriculum in school. That's all that matters. Don't follow how you are actually perceiving things. So being creative was not valued, or taking the lead felt unsafe. And again, as an Aries, I've always been in leadership positions. It's just, I thrive on that. When we had some tricky family dynamics when I was younger in my teenage years, everybody else, when we had some anger in the house, I had a tendency to stand up to the anger versus other siblings would go away from it, right? Which is very common and nothing wrong with either way. But I had a tendency to be like, no. So I just couldn't help it. I'm like that today still, to my detriment sometimes. So it's not like always a great thing. But anyways, again, I think that might have a little bit to do with my Aries, not necessarily personality type. Okay, so because of those things, because we didn't want to speak up because we didn't want to cause tension, we didn't want to stand up because we didn't want to be judged. We were taught to not trust our inner selves, right? What our inner knowledge was telling us. So we adapted. Okay. We softened ourselves. We stayed quieter. We blended in, or stopped trusting what we felt and knew. Okay. So those hidden strengths don't disappear. They don't disappear. You still have those strengths, but they're just quieter. So those then become part of our shadow. All right. They quickly shape our choices, or they quietly shape our choices, our relationships, and our self-doubt from the background. So you can see this in everyday life. You hesitate to speak in a meeting even when you clearly know the answer. You downplay your ideas so you don't sound too much. Oh my God. Well, I already did that with you guys today. I totally did that with you guys today. Now, I do believe that, but it is part of my shadow to be like, part of my connection with you is to not be the expert. All right. And that is very much my shadow. I just saw it just now. I just discovered my shadow. So I have been saying from the beginning, I'm the facilitator of this conversation. That feels more comfortable to me than for me to say, I actually know something here and I have something to share. So isn't that interesting? I just caught my shadow, a little bit of my shadow. Now, I do believe also that being a facilitator does not necessarily mean that that's shadow work, but it is partly. I'd have to say it is partly. Because I will do that all the time. Like if I sound like I'm an expert in something, I will always say, well, that's maybe not, that might just be my opinion, whatever. Never really taking a stand on like, no, this is like clearly the answer to something, right? So, and again, me, I believe in the gray of everything too. So whatever. You might feel a strong inner nudge to do something different, but you talk yourself out of it. So that could be part of your shadow work showing up in real life. You avoid sharing your creative work because it feels safer to keep it private. How many of us have done that? So many. You wait for permission instead of trusting yourself to lead. Okay, so that just kind of sets the stage for the questions. All right, hopefully that was helpful. Okay, so let's say our little energy prayer. So I close my aura to all but my higher self, the God consciousness, my guides and guardians, the lead team collective, and only those of the highest and purest light, and ask Archangel Michael to please protect my channel, your channel, the lead team collective, so it is all of the highest and purest light. Amen. I thought maybe if you wanted to watch Lucy cleaning herself, I'll give you a better view. It's kind of relaxing. All right, lead team, hello. Thank you so much for being here, as always, for your guidance and support of us in the community and for each of us individually. Now, I want to remind everybody, did you do your 5 seconds or 1 minute of sending love out to the world? Why don't we just, you know what, why don't we just do it together every time I do a video? So let's just send love out to the world right now, you guys. So just take a deep breath. We're going to just, it doesn't need to be more than 5 seconds. But if we all do it collectively, especially at the same time, it might be helpful. But even if it's not at the same time, whenever you hear this video, obviously everybody's going to be listening to it at different times, do it at this point. Okay, so just send love out to the world, because really what you're doing is projecting love and giving it back to yourself. That's really the most important. So send love out to the world, send love out to people that you're having a difficult time with. Okay, my ego, like I try so hard to send love to the President of the United States, the acting President of the United States, and my ego just like it's so hard, but I'm doing it anyways, because that will just send love back to me. So, okay, 10 seconds. So I'm only going to do 10 seconds, but you can hold that. And it feels good, actually. Doesn't that feel good? So try doing that on a regular basis. I just did it I'm going to try doing it right when I wake up in the morning. I'm just going to take a deep breath and send love to anybody I might be feeling a little disgruntled with, and just to the world. I'm going to send love to the community. Please do that. Send love to the light workers here. So I'm sending all my energy and love to you, because that will really just keep elevating our vibration. Okay. So that's kind of my next iteration of where I'm going to go in this channel, and just kind of, why not? I mean, it can't hurt, right? Okay. So lead team, does that work to send love like that on a regular basis? Yes. Okay, this is going to be a little disjointed, only because my husband came home right when I was saying whatever I was saying. So I paused it, and it's been like an hour since. So I believe I was asking the lead team about sending love out. Yeah, that's what I was asking. So lead team, so what we just did with regards to, if we all in this community sent out 5 seconds of purposeful love out into the world, does that make any difference whatsoever? Yes. Okay. There you go. So if you can do it for a minute, you can do it for 5 minutes. I mean, So does it make any difference at all if we direct it specifically to someone we may be having hard feelings about? Yes. Does it actually raise the vibration of the person who you have hard feelings about? Yes. I think that's where I struggle with my ego with Trump, because it's so hard to want to send anything good to him, because I feel like he does so many hurtful things to people. But Lucy, so is that my ego getting in the way? Yes. So is it more likely if we all send love to him, is it more likely that that would help him to stop doing hurtful things? Yes. Okay. So that's where our effort is then. I'm sorry. Come here, sis. Is that because so many people are sending negative energy to him? Hateful comments, all that kind of stuff. Yes. And then that will just, okay. Okay. All right. I'm just trying to understand how the vibration works. So then any moments we spend sending love out, we're also sending it back to ourselves, correct? Because whatever you put out there, yes, you get in return. So kind of interesting. I don't think that's spirit. I just got an itch on my nose. Okay. Well, let's get to the questions about shadow. All right. So lead team. Yeah, I definitely have. Maybe it does have to do with that conversation about love. Was my nose just itchy because of that conversation about love? Yes. Although now I'm feeling, I feel itchy all over. Okay. So lead team, we've got some questions about that shadow work. Okay. And the description that I read, is that an accurate description of shadow work that generally applies? Yes. Okay. And this is is that all a human construct? Shadows? Yes. Okay. Just like confidence. And so the only construct that comes from the other realm where you are lead team is love. Is that correct? Yes. And all these other constructs that we don't experience in the other realm, shame, all that kind of stuff. Is that why we come to Earth, to experience these things? Yes. All right. So is the shadow something we are naturally programmed with at birth? That's a good question. No. Well, do we carry shadows from previous lifetimes? Yes. And that would be consistent with our witch wound conversation, which was so good, you guys. And my sister ended up putting out 2 premieres on the same night by accident, and we just let them go because by the time she realized it, they were already started. So I don't think they're going to get in case you weren't able to watch one over the other, but definitely watch the witch wound. It was so good. Like, I thought it was just very enlightening and really helpful. And I think the shadow one is kind of similar to the witch wound. So I will post that video here at the end of this one. Okay, so is the shadow purely a result of our life experiences? Yes. Yes. But is it how our ego deals with those life experiences? Yes. Is it how our spirit deals with those life experiences? Yes. Okay. Do our individual belief systems determine how our shadow work unfolds? Yes, that's a good one. I'm guessing, first you have to even acknowledge that there is, shadows, right? So I think we're all at different stages of acknowledging. First you got to learn about it and then acknowledge that they're there. And then, yeah, that's interesting. Can shadow work be fully completed just by changing what we believe? Yes, that's awesome. A new perspective changes everything. Think of how many times you had a perspective on something and you spent a long time angry about it, or even enough time, whatever time it was. And then somebody clarified and you went, oh, oh, it's, yeah. I would guess is the only way for us to fully stop that from happening on a regular basis in our lives is to live in the present moment. Yes. Like, don't let your brain take you to the future or the past, Yes. And really, and then just accept what's in the present moment. And obviously do the best you can. Just do the best you can with that. But, if you can bring your shadows obviously into the present moment. So there's that. Okay. So that isn't quite as clear then. As we continue to raise our vibrations, will the shadows naturally leave us? Yes, because lower vibrational energy, which would be shame, would be the shadow stuff. Lower vibrational energy cannot exist in a high vibrational state. Is that correct? Yes. So this is no different than talking about 3D to 5D, right? You can have it now. You can move from 3D to 5D now. Absolutely, you can. If we don't even think of 3D to 5D, but we just think of vibration. So you know what the lower vibrations are, you know what the higher vibrations are, and you can choose to live in that higher vibration. Yes. I'm kind of talking, but they're like, yes, you can. So, and the more you live in that higher vibration, the more you attract higher vibration. It's really that simple. And that is just the law of attraction right there. It's just, that's it, And the more you live in the lower vibration, the more you attract the lower vibration, right? It's really no different than the algorithm. The more you watch one thing, the more you attract it to you in the algorithm. The more you watch a different thing, the more you attract that to you. So it's no different. I think we've overcomplicated law of attraction, vibration, 3D, 5D, or whatever. And it's quite, that easy, right? I think. Now, actually living that is a different thing, but just understanding it that way. Is shadow work only effective if we are completely open to facing the ugly parts of ourselves? Okay, they're saying no. So how can we break that down? Is it only open to facing the ugly parts of ourselves? Okay. The reason they might be saying no might have just to do with that vibrational piece. So is it more important then? Would you recommend we actually work on shadows or work on vibration? Should we work on vibration more? Yes. So it's literally paying attention to when you're in a lower vibration, a higher vibration, lower vibration, higher vibration. And you all know it switches like every 3 seconds, right? But the more you get used to hanging out in that higher vibration, the more you can maintain it, right? We've probably all had periods of time, whether it be maybe you don't live in maybe you are in a lower vibrational state a lot. That's no blame. It's just about, because stuff happens to us. So we have to deal with those things. And nobody's going to be a Pollyanna when there's really hard things going on, because that's ridiculous, right? But there's like the intellectual way. I'm just throwing shit out there. I don't really know. But there's like the intellectual way of dealing with something, and there's the vibrational way of dealing with it. So can we deal with hard things intellectually, knowing that there's the yin and yang of the environment or the earth, So do that, but can you maintain an even vibration, or a higher vibration in it? Probably. Yeah, I would say yeah. And we all have times where we've probably done that. It's just a matter of how long you can hang on to that and how much is coming at you at one time, the extent to what it is, how other people around you are responding, because that can be challenging, right? So we have really come for an adventure here, haven't we? It's amazing, actually, if you think about like whatever you believe the other realm is, all love, light, total understanding, right? If that's what you believe. It's kind of what I think of it. I don't necessarily believe it. It's just kind of how I think of it. And when I get new information, it'll shift. But think of the adventure I can see why we would come here if we wanted to experience the opposite of that, or just even taste food, touch something, It's really fascinating. I can see that. And actually, I've just got some awareness of the appreciation just for myself, just at that moment. Because I'm usually like, oh, I'm never coming back here again. I've heard many people say that this place is a hellhole. This is hell. This is the hell. This isn't heaven. This is the hell. But it's really about experiencing something different that we don't get to experience when we're in our home, when we're where we normally come from, right? So yeah, fascinating. Okay, let's see. Does the shadow act as a subconscious filter for how we perceive our reality? Oh, yes. Oh, wow. So think of it as a filter and perception, you know? And it's really not real. I mean, we know that, right? I mean, because again, if you can change your vibration from one moment to the next with one new piece of information to another new piece of information, the information shouldn't matter then. Like we should be able to just do it, right? So it really is about perception and what we think is reality. So that whole subconscious filter is kind of interesting. Okay, is simply pausing during an emotional trigger enough to do the work? Yeah, that's really good. And what I love about these questions is we're actually teaching ourselves like techniques, right? Just by going through these questions. So that would be enough to do the shadow work, right? Yeah, because you're catching yourself before maybe your vibration shifts a little bit because you're like, whoops, I just got triggered. But if you can let the trigger halt, it's kind of like a circuit breaker. If that can have a circuit breaker before you get too low, you can get back up higher a little quicker maybe, right? Does shadow work require a deeper dive than just pausing in the moment? Okay, they're saying yes and no. So obviously it depends on the situation and maybe how deep it's entrenched in you, how long you've been experiencing it, how long it's been a part of your story. Now, I don't know if this is in the spirit circle or the self-care messaging, the messages that we got for February. If you missed that video, I'll post it right here at the end. I can't remember if it was in the spirit circle messages. I think it was for February. About that, we got a card that was amazing, just about be careful of the narratives, like just using discernment was a really clear message for us. Let me go grab that real quick because it was really helpful. Okay, so insider, if you're not in the spirit circle, insider tip. So the third message we got from February on the pendulum was love is most important. That was the third message they spelled out for us, okay? Then I used Oracle. As I always do, we always pull Oracle messages for each of the pendulum messages. And they said, the Oracle, there was a couple messages within that Oracle. It's time to start saying no to their manipulation. Now, this is what I wrote down. This is how I interpreted the Oracle messages. Others in the community may have written different things down. So if you did, please share, okay, under love is most important. So it's time to start saying no to their manipulation. Take control of your own narrative. So a lot of our shadows, I'm guessing, are conditioned narratives from society, from our parents, who got it from their parents, and so on and so on. From class wars, like people who were born into a lower class and have chosen that experience in this lifetime. But those messages and class wars, that's why people who are wealthy continue to have children who understand that process, because one, they teach them, and they probably have different shadows. They have different kind of shadows, but not shadows that keep them financially in slavery, right, to the financial system, right? Because it doesn't benefit the wealthy right now. Hopefully in the new earth, a new structure, but it doesn't benefit the wealthy if everybody is sovereign, because how would they make money then, right? If everybody felt good about themselves and was finding the quote unquote American dream, right? So take control of your own narrative. And then my trauma doesn't make me less lovable. That came up in the love is most important. My trauma doesn't make me less lovable or capable or smart or whatever. Okay. Or, less of a spiritual being, because we're all equal there. We're all equal there. Remember, we don't even have any color there. We don't have any avatar there. We have vibration. So if we think of it that way, not, it's just, that's how we should perceive each other on earth too, right? So, is daily meditation by itself a complete tool for resolving all shadow issues? Yes, could be. Yeah, look at. Is that because we connect? Is it because we raise our vibration when we meditate? Yes. Okay. And because we can connect with you more clearly? Yes. Okay. But does it ultimately have to do with vibration? Yes. So think of anything. If meditation doesn't work for you, meditation sometimes can lower my vibration because I get in my head. But sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's very relaxing. So right now I've been doing a lot of drawing artwork. I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you in some video coming up. I might do like a bonus, because in the spirit circle, I was thinking about doing the project, and I've decided for now I'm not going to do that, like another level of membership, but I might do a bonus drawing exercise to take what we're doing and all the conversations we're having to the paper, because I'm loving what I'm doing right now. And it's simple. I like simple. It's quick. It doesn't make a mess. So it's really kind of fun. All right. So, and to me that is very meditative. It really raises my vibration. Probably a little too much, because then I find myself, that's all I want to do. I don't, I like to record my videos and stuff, but I don't want to do computer work or anything like that right now, because I just want to draw. Okay. Can specific affirmations like saying I am while drinking water help us clear shadows? Wow. Yes. I hadn't heard that one before. I am while drinking water. Kind of makes sense with one of the elements. Wow, that's cool. That's a good one. See, so we don't have to make it complicated, right? Are traditional recovery programs like the 12 steps a form of shadow work? Wow, they were really starting. Yes, really wide swing on that. Really wide swing on that. Is a primary goal of shadow work to eliminate the shadow entirely? No. Okay, so is it even possible for humans with the ego, is it possible to eliminate shadow entirely? No. No. Is it possible for any human to raise our vibration as high as it is in the other realm? No. Okay. That's probably why we feel so light. When we cross over and we transition, do most souls feel super light? Like, whoa. Yeah. Okay. So the density is gone, right? Like shadow is density to me. It feels like density. Okay. They're saying yes. Is our primary goal of shadow work to integrate the shadow into our conscious self? Oh, okay. So the more we understand ourselves, right, the more we can raise our vibrations. Yes. Okay. Interesting. Is it possible to fully integrate the shadow without remembering childhood trauma? Yes, they're saying yes. But again, I'm not sure we can we fully integrate our shadows? Okay, so yes, we can fully, so like one particular shadow, maybe we can fully integrate. Yes. Okay, but not all. No. Or do we just have to then deal with shadows that occur in the moment? Like if we're living in the present moment? Yes. I mean, you might get a new shadow, right? I mean, I don't see why, yes, depending on what happens. So then trying to integrate those as quickly as possible, probably. Yes. Do we need specific memories to effectively apologize to our inner shadow? No. And this is where we could do the Ho'oponopono prayer. You don't even need to know. In fact, my next video I'm recording today is questions about Ho'oponopono. So watch for that because that will probably come out tomorrow. Is simply knowing there is a knot in your heart sufficient to begin healing? Yeah, that's interesting. Like if you just have a knot in your heart, it's enough to say, okay, my vibration is low, you know? And the question is, do we really need to know why? I don't know. They're saying yes. Okay. Okay. Yes, you do. You should need to know why. But they did say we don't have to know the childhood trauma. You could, maybe it's enough to just know like something happened to cause this to happen. And that's all I need to know. Maybe that's enough. They're saying yes. Okay. Does the process of doing shadow work cause temporary issues with memory? Oh, yes. Because I'm telling you, and maybe because things were happening so fast, but I was really stumbling with memory. And it might have been around that time we were doing that shadow journal in the spirit circle. I'm not sure. Is forgetting parts of your past a sign that your shadow work is failing? No, no. Is forgetting parts of your past simply your mind's way of protecting itself? Yes. But it does, even if it protects itself, we still carry some of the shadow of it? Yes, that's where the tricky part comes in. Can fictional stories and media serve as a form of collective shadow work? Wow, yes. That's interesting. If you start to look at the shadows of like your family, your community, where I live in a condo area, it was built in the 1970s. There's shadows here because there's past history. Like people still talk about stuff. That's why, I mean, think of each country that all of us live in. Think of the conversations that always happen. That's shadow stuff, right? People can't let that shit go. Let that shit go. Right? But then, and if we don't let it go, it just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. And it gets worse and worse and worse because we're sending so much energy to it. So we all play a role right now with what's going on in the world. Don't fool yourself. You have played a role. If you've ever had a conversation about how society is or isn't what you want it to be, you're playing a role because you've sent that energy out there. We've all done it, all of us. So, it's the way our brains work, So, but that's where this is a really nice connection now with the Ho'oponopono prayer, because again, pay attention to that video again tomorrow. I'll put it out, these two back to back. So witch wound, this video, and then Ho'oponopono kind of all flow together. All right. And you could, I think, because I'm learning so much from this little series, that if you watch all of those, maybe it'll really help connect some things for you. Okay, so will we continue to carry our individual shadows with us as we move into the 5D? No, because 5D would not be living in the past. Is that true? Yes. Okay. So 5D is very present living. Yes. All right, 3 more questions. Does moving to a higher dimension automatically clear all of our remaining shadows? Yes. because it's a vibrational thing, correct? Yes. So shadows, the way we're looking at them, is a lower vibrational way of being. Yes, or feeling. Oh, they said no. It's funny because I assumed they were going to say yes. That happens to me every once in a while. I make the assumption and then I'm like, wait, actually they're saying no. Okay, let me ask that again. I don't even know what I asked now. So does moving to a higher dimension automatically clear our remaining shadows? They said yes. I don't even know what I asked now. Sorry. It had something to do with, I don't remember. Okay, is focus, just know they said no to it. But I thought they were going to say yes because I thought I knew. So sorry, I can't clarify on that. Is focusing on justice for others a valid way to process our own inner shadow? Great question. Yes. Focusing on justice for others. Yeah, very cool. Does the story of Peter Pan, who tried to sew his shadow back on, yeah, think about that, serve as a mirror of this journey, reminding us that we are disconnected, reminding us that when we are disconnected from our shadow, we remain stuck in a state of arrested development. Wow, yes. So right now in the 3D experience, our shadow is actually quite important. Yes. Wow. I think it's probably to the degree. Is it matter to the degree though? Yes. So that's what they said. You're not going to get rid of your shadow. It's just to the degree that it's holding you back, probably. Yes. Oh, I actually really appreciated that last question. Good job, Marsh. Because I think it really put in perspective that you don't really need to try to get rid of all your shadows. It's actually protecting you. Your shadows are doing stuff for you. And so maybe instead of thinking of your shadows as like an enemy, think of them as your friend, but just tone them down a little bit, like so that it's not getting in the way. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think about that? All right, I can't wait to read the comments and see what y'all think and what you offer to the conversation for people who have much more understanding than I do in this. And we'll see you in the next video. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.